Thanks for staying with us on the program. Without further ado, the matter has already been introduced as a pertinent one. Reactions continue to elicit online following the disappearance of human rights activist Dele Farotimi. The NBA has condemned this disappearance, but in getting perspectives this morning, we'll start the conversations in our studio and be joined virtually by more guests. In our studios this morning is a chartered mediator and a human rights activist, Barrister Alex Ogboo. Good morning to you, sir, and compliments of the season.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here. Compliments of the season, indeed.
Now, this is one of those issues, and people continue to talk about what constitutes free speech, cyberbullying, as was alleged in the petition as filed by Chief Afab Babalola SAN, and the position of your good friend, Dele Farotimi, who feels that he was somewhat being primed by the police and being lured to a church to have him arrested. Now, his advently disappeared has been reported, and it's been linked to that petition as filed by Chief Afab Babalola SAN. What do you make of these developments?
You know, the police arrested Dele Farotimi and even invaded his chambers, seized the phones of the lawyers in chambers on the allegation of defamation or libel. And it's a very bad development at this stage. Nigerian police is well aware of what our laws are. And you see, the Lagos State criminal law of 2011 did not include defamation as one of the issues. So defamation in Lagos State is a civil wrong. And that is in tandem with international best practices. And, you know, the Police Act, Section 4 and 24, is so emphatic that police should, you know, arrest people in doing their job on matters bordering on criminality.
But the CP in Ekiti State,
yes,
CP Niran Akinwale, has defended the arrest, much like you're saying, contrary to what is provided by the law. But if a commissioner of police of a state is defending and standing his ground on the arrest, do you think that the laws are somewhat being made light of?
Now, see, in 2021, the Supreme Court, there's the case of Aviomo against the Commissioner of Police and one other. The Supreme Court, Gumiju, JSC, declared that defamation or libel is completely a civil wrong in Lagos State, completely excluded from Lagos State criminal law. And therefore, it has nothing to do with crime. It's a civil wrong. So anyone who is defending that is ignorant. It's ignorance of the law, no matter how highly placed. As long as the issue is rising from defamation or libel in Lagos and you invaded somebody's chambers, that's against Section 34 that has to do with dignity of the right to dignity of the person, the individual Nigerian, and Section 37 that had to do with right to private and family life. That's a serious invasion, and it's unconstitutional. So whoever is defending that is just being emotional and being very ignorant. That's the fact.
Now I'm talking about the emotions, and that's another sensitive subject I'd like for us to touch on.
Yes.
Now, Mr. Farotimi's activities, especially following the last presidential election, in his leaning towards the Peter Obi movement, the obedient movement, has also been associated to why he's being treated like this. Do you think this is quite unfounded, or do you see a reason why it might be linked to this?
Now, it's most unfounded. It's most unfounded. I'm happy that you touched on issues of the last presidential election, all right? Every Nigerian has a right to take a decision on who to support and who to vote for, and to express so publicly. Right to freedom of expression. Everybody has it. So that he supports P2B, is P2B a crime in Nigeria? That's a presidential candidate of a party.
And his choice.
And his choice.
Hold your thoughts there. This morning we also have joining in from Lagos another human rights activist, Mr. Bolaji Oluwatosin. And Lagos particularly is of interest this morning because that's where the arrest took place. Hello, Mr. Oluwatosin, can you hear us? Whilst I'm hoping you can hear us, I can't hear you on this end. I'll just ask you my question, because news emanating from Lagos this morning is that the Nigerian Bar Association has indeed condemned this and are asking for the immediate release of Mr. Farotimi. Care to make any comments in this regard and your position on this? Well, it may seem as though our connection to Lagos this morning has failed. We'll look to reconnect, and if we can't, we'll see if we can also pick up another lawyer from Abuja, Kevin Osakome, who will join us and also lend his thoughts to this conversation. Now, back to you. We're talking about the choice of one in whatever elections,
yes,
and it not determine how they are treated post-election.
Yes. Now, you see, I kept emphasizing that this regime is going contrary to all that it advocated when the managers of this regime were not in power. You know, in 2012, when the issue of deregulation came up under Jonathan, you know, most people in this regime were the people who were in the streets for over 2 weeks, occupying Nigeria and all the rest, seeing it as too wrong for you to talk of removal of subsidy and all. Our current president wrote a thesis against the issue of removal of subsidy. We didn't see Jonathan order the police to arrest any of them. None of them was incarcerated. None of them was arrested. Instead, Jonathan had to backpedal and remove the little increment that was made. That's what is expected in a democracy. Now that the same people that voiced their opposition and stood against it by serious actions are in power, and they are now using Gestapo method, you know, dictatorial method in haranguing people, harassing Nigerians, is most uncalled for, and it's such a big shame.
Now, talking about the justice system in Nigeria,
yes,
part of his disappearance has been linked to the book he wrote, Nigeria and its Criminal Justice System. That's the title of the book,
yes,
which also is one of the reasons why Chief Afe Babalola SAN was aggrieved with the position of Mr. Farotimi in part of the issues he detailed in that book. Do you think that that book should be seen as a necessary evil?
How can you talk of such a book as being seen as a necessary evil? He wrote a book, and you are incensed with some content of such a book. All right? There are better things to do. There are better ways to react to such things. And you can also sue him, use legal methods, sue him, you know, detailing the issues they are raising, than using this system we are seeing, which is most unhealthy and most uncalled for. I think our country has outgrown this level. It has outgrown this level.
Now, let's see if Mr. Bolaji has rejoined us. I'm aware that my production team at the back end has been trying frantically to have him rejoin the conversation. Hello, Mr. Oluwatosin, are you back with us?
Yes, I'm back. The network was fluctuating.
Very well. Apologies for the network. Let's have you make your position on this matter very quickly.
Pardon?
Let's have your take on this issue. We've seen the statement coming in from Lagos, the NBA particularly, asking for the immediate release of Mr. Farotimi. What do you make of this disappearance and the fact that Chief Afe Babalola SAN has been named as the person probably responsible for his disappearance?
You know, it is disheartening that at this point in Nigeria, we still have to relegate and denigrate ourselves and our country in this manner. Because, Dele Farotimi, for long years now, we've known him to be a human rights activist who has spoken to the issues and challenges that Nigerians are grappling with. And he has been clear as to the fact that the parameters of measurement of good governance is the quality of life of citizens, which means that the justice system has to work, which means that the executive system has to work, which means that the legislative system has to work. And all of these things have failed. And in his book, he has decided to document in it his personal experience. And this even led him to leave, practice as a lawyer. It is just sad that he has been arrested in this manner because he's not such a person that should be experiencing this manner of arrest.
Now, the manner of arrest is something some persons, especially myself, who are not part of the learned fellows or privy to how the law works, jurisprudence, jurisdiction, whichever you would clear that. But he's saying that the book was published in Lagos. The allegations he leveled against Chief Afe Babalola was cited as being done in Lagos. But now he's been whisked away to Ekiti State. Do you agree with the fact that this is one of those issues as it concerns where the crime was alleged to have been done and where the arrest is now being made?
You see, the position of the law is clear as to the fact that there are types of jurisdiction, and territorial jurisdiction is what we are dealing with in this instance. Dele Farotimi talked about these things in Lagos. He wrote the book in Lagos. Everything detailed in that book happened in Lagos. So it is sad that he had to be whisked away in connivance with Chief Afe Babalola SAN and Tony Elumelu, who I learned was also one of the people who was used in this manner to whisk him away out of the city of Lagos to Ekiti State, where, you know, he is in fact the highest employer of labor in Ekiti State. And this also means that he controls virtually everything that happens in Ekiti State, which could also include the justice system. So it is sad that he has been taken to a place of convenience as against what the position of the law is. But, you know, this is what Nigeria has degenerated into. And it's just sad that, you know, we're experiencing these things.
Now, Mr. Bolaji Oluwatosin, thanks for making your position known on this matter. We appreciate you. Just stay with us for a bit. Let me come back to the studio and talk to Barrister Alex. Now, Barrister, it's also on the subject of the arrest denying family access to Mr. Farotimi. Now, I don't know what's the provisions of the law on such arrest, and in cases where families are denied access, what can be done?
Our security agencies keep diving into the gutter when we have gone, you know, millions of miles ahead of that. If you deny the family access that, like they do most of the time, is that what will make you to achieve whatever you think you will achieve? It will rather impede the progress you are supposed to make.
Does this also constitute some human rights violation?
It does. It does. On a strict sense, it does. You see, what the position of the law is this. In Section 36 of the Constitution, when you are going to do something against somebody by borders on rights and all, the person should be made to know what the issue is. And this is even what you do in the presence of the person's counsel, lawyer. It's not something done in secrecy. Neither should you get the person secluded from the family and all that. I don't know the kind of approach Nigerian police uses in their training colleges, which I believe they should have improved upon. So all those ones, they are just messing up the country, bastardizing the principles of justice and rule of law in this country, you know, and it's so shameful that we still be talking on something like that. But you see, in doing all that, what also is playing out is, at the end of all this, because this matter of foreign shopping now, you are picking someone from Lagos, whisking the person away to Ekiti State, where you believe they can do whatever you can do and get over what you can get. Our brother Dele Farotimi will also enforce his fundamental human rights and get damages, which I'm sure of. At the end of the day, yes, that one is certain. It's sacrosanct. He will get damages for the violation of his human rights. But we are looking at the wider society. The kind of thing that should not be mentioned, should not be heard of, that is being carried out here is most unhealthy. You don't hiding people away from their family and makes you to achieve what purpose? Then, and we were complaining about the military, because that's when we are seeing things like that. And this is a democracy, this is a civilian regime. And people who commit heinous crimes, most of them, the security agency do not even go after them. Here we are now talking about somebody expressed opinion, and you are doing this. It's a shame.
Now, in this case where we have wide condemnation of what the law enforcement agency, being the police this time, has done, in terms of a call to action, what's the best the family can do now that they've been also hindered access to Mr. Farotimi?
No, definitely, the family has access to the law courts. And the NBA too is not taking it lightly, because this is not something the NBA can joke with. All right, we stand for everyone, and now is one of us also, and a seasoned activist for that matter. You see, Dele Farotimi is one of the consciences of the nation. Yes, so issues like that from several fronts, the family, the NBA, and then the general society, all are in tandem in ensuring that justice is done in favor of Farotimi.
Now, talking about another person who was very wide known for his activism and also contested in the last elections under the AAC, Omoyele Sowore, has also come out to condemn this attack on the person of Mr. Farotimi. Is there much of a significance in such comments coming from Mr. Sowore?
No, there is. There is. Not just only Sowore. There is. You know, the lending, it is said that injustice to one person or someone anywhere is injustice to everyone everywhere. All right? So more people are going to still come out for this. You know, so it's not just matter of Sowore. Yes, it matters a lot, and more people are going to come out. There are things we should not be doing, sincerely speaking.
Now, let's also see if we can get another perspective to this conversation as we make attempts to join Kevin Osekome, a lawyer and human rights activist, joining in from the nation's capital. Hello, Mr. Kelvin. Good morning to you. Hello, Mr. Kevin. Can you hear us? Well, check that you're not muted at your own end, Mr. Kevin. Just check that on your connection on your screen there. You're not muted.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yes. Welcome to the program. Season greetings.
Thank you very much.
Now, we have very little time on our hand. Can you make your position known on this matter? We've created a background to it, and I'm sure you're also following the development where the family has been hindered access to Mr. Farotimi.
Well, the hindering access to Mr. Farotimi is a violation of his fundamental rights, and we all know that it is not allowed. So what the family knows, they know what to do. They can bring an action against the law enforcement agency to either compel them to have access to him, or maybe claim damages for breach of his fundamental rights. Well, having said that, the whole issue is very, I don't want to use the word laughable, but I think that is what it is, because the offense for which he is alleged to have been arrested is no longer an offense under the laws of Lagos State, because the new Lagos State penal law does not contemplate criminal defamation as an offense. And it is very clear, even to a layman who is well informed, that an offense that is not stated in writing you cannot be charged for that offense, because you have to know the particular offense for which you have been charged. This is your right. You have to know the particular offense for which you have been charged. And the Supreme Court, in the case of Aviomo against the state, stated it quite clearly that since the Lagos State penal law does not contemplate criminal defamation, nobody can be charged on that. But I wouldn't want to preempt the law enforcement agency, because what we know here is that he was arrested on allegations of criminal defamation. We don't know whether there are other charges that might be brought against him. But if the charge for which he was arrested is criminal defamation, and it's obvious that it's a non-issue, he cannot be tried under that particular law in Lagos State.
Now, having established that, Mr. Kevin, my question now is on the book he wrote, Nigeria and its Criminal Justice System. I don't know if you've gone through the book. In any way, does it capture some form of cyberbullying or defamation against Chief Afe Babalola? And if he is aggrieved, is the petition warranting an arrest outside where the crime was said to have been committed?
No, well, the issue is that when arrests can be made outside where the offense is committed, if the suspect, in this case, was found outside, he can be arrested and brought back to the jurisdiction where the offense was committed.
But in this case, he was in Lagos, arrested in Lagos and taken to Ekiti. So how do we explain this?
Well, it depends on where was the offense committed. Was it in Ekiti or in Lagos?
He said he published the book in Lagos. And the allegations he made against Chief Afe Babalola were allegations made on his activities based on his dealings in Lagos. So he sees no reason why he should be arrested and remanded in Ekiti.
It is a non-issue, because during the time of maybe when everybody was using the criminal code in the South, that would have been contemplated. But Lagos State has its own penal law now, apart from every other state in Nigeria. And so the issue of territorial jurisdiction now comes into play. Because if the laws of Lagos State do not cover, you cannot use the law of Lagos State to try somebody in Ekiti. So I'm very surprised that he's being taken to Ekiti for any reason. Since the book was published in Lagos, the allegations were made in Lagos. And even what we're even saying that it's not even a crime, it's just a civil tort that can be actionable by way of claiming damages. You cannot arrest and detain somebody for criminal defamation if it happened in Lagos. That's my take on it.
All right, Mr. Kevin, one last
So he's
question
being
because we're
taken to
fast
Ekiti
running
is
out of
strange to
time.
me
I don't know if you've
because,
seen comments made by the Commissioner of Police in Ekiti State. He is defending the arrest and is not reneging on the position of the police in Ekiti in releasing Mr. Farotimi.
Yeah, well, the police must always defend their position, whether rightly or wrongly. You understand? Because they have to justify whatever action they take to guard themselves against maybe damages when somebody files for fundamental right enforcement and all that. They have to justify their action. But in this case, there's nothing justifiable. In my opinion, there's nothing justifiable in being arrested in Lagos and taken to Ekiti, where no ingredient of the offense happened. If maybe he had written the book in Ekiti and published it in Ekiti, then came to Lagos and made some other statements against Chief Afe Babalola in this case, that would have, warranted them to say, okay, part of the offense was committed in Ekiti, so he should be tried in Ekiti, because the criminal code, which is still in use in Ekiti, can come into play. But since all the ingredients of the offense, of the alleged offense, which to me is not an offense, happened in Lagos, Ekiti has no business trying somebody for that kind of issue.
Well, Mr. Kevin, thank you very much for giving us your position on this matter. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
Well, Barrister Alex, in closing, most of your colleagues have reiterated most of the positions you've made here.
Exactly.
But in closing now, what's your hope on this matter and redeeming the way our justice system in the country is being perceived with actions like this?
No, the only way of redeeming, like I said, our brother Dele Farotimi'S definitely I know will go to court. That's where he will get justice. If the politicians want to respect themselves, it's up to them. Now, look at the tax reform bill at the National Assembly, okay? There were some protesters from the north against it. There were protesters, pro-Tinubu protesters, in support of it. You see, so this regime has always wanted whatever they want to be done in their own way. The tax reform bill, the content of that tax reform bill is very noble. Something needs to be fine-tuned, but we need that tax reform bill to come into law after fine-tuning it. All right. But what I'm trying to say is that in this regime, they will always go to defend their people, their positions, hire people to protest in their favor, while they criminalize any other person who opposes whatever they are doing, that the other person is seen the other way. So that is where politicians are shooting themselves on the foot. But I know that Dele definitely will go to court and will get justice. That's where the matter lies.
Well, Barrister Alex, I must thank you for gracing the program this morning, and we wish you the best of the rest of today.
It's a pleasure.